What is tweaking? Tweaking is meth related, it's meth binge related. And I don't think sometimes people really actually understand what tweaking is. So I wanted to share with you what tweaking is. I've never experienced tweaking before because I was a coke addict. I have done meth and I've hung out with meth addicts before also. And I've watched meth addicts tweak out like no other. And so I wanted to share some of my experiences on that. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. What's up, guys? My name is Eric and I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. I like to share my experiences and my what I've been through just to help anybody through their struggles. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor. I'm a recovering coke addict, alcoholic. I lost a wife and a father to suicide. A lot of mental illness diagnoses. I found the more that we share, the more that it helps anybody out there struggling. So what is tweaking? Tweaking is what happens at the end of a binge. You go on a meth binge. I've been with tweakers before, and again, that's why we kind of call them tweakers. At that end of the binge, they're not getting as high as they were in that same high at the very beginning of when they went on this. I've had friends who would hit me up in the middle of going on a binge of meth, and I would go over and even hang out with them because sometimes they were fun, and a lot of times they would think the police and stuff were trying to come in, or paranoia or whatever. And I don't know if me being around helped bring them a little bit of calmness or whatever. And unfortunately, some of these people also worked for me. But at the end of this, when you first start using, especially like meth, it gets you this different high versus after you've used this for this long span, towards the end of that, it's not giving you almost the same high, where coke high is very similar. I've noticed like the whole way kind of through, where when I would go on a coke binge, the high, I just kept chasing that high and wanted it more and more and more. Where with meth, it's almost like not the same. And now all of a sudden you eventually run out and now you're going to start tweaking. And tweaking can happen. I mean, it can last for 3, 4, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks. And the symptoms of tweaking essentially are, it's the irritability, it is the nausea, it is vomiting, it is a mad paranoia of just nothing is right. You're hearing stuff. A lot of it has to do with because you're extremely exhausted because you didn't sleep at all during your binge. It can resort in a lot of self-harm and a lot of picking and scratching on your faces. You're not taking care of any of your body at all during a binge, because even with coke, I mean, you gave your soul over to this drug, and you literally have left life to get high. And now reality is starting to come back in. So it's a lot of depression. It's that moodiness, a lot of anger and temper. I mean, as soon as people would start tweaking around me, I'm like, I'm out, because like, I don't want you throwing shit and thinking the cops are outside. And it was like so manic up and down. And at first somebody would be super angry and fuming, and then they'd be crying because they'd just be depressed. And the next thing you know, they'd pass out for like 30 minutes and then flinch themselves back awake. And think that the cops are trying to bust into the door, and no matter what you tell them, they're peering out the windows thinking this. I mean, that is the effects of this drug, especially after a binge. And I don't understand our sanity, and this is where we are so insane as addicts, is there's no sanity to this. Like, what part of this remotely sounds fun as an addict? Like, there was never a part of me, especially with crystal meth, and this is why that drug scared me so much, and I never really wanted to do it, is I watched this after effect with people. And I didn't want that. Like that, I'm like, that to me was scary. That was to me, I don't know if I had just enough sanity in my head to go like, I don't want that. Like coke made me depressed. Coke made me down. I mean, I would go on benders with cocaine and alcohol, but watching people just really coming off meth and tweaking on it hardcore, where, I mean, I wouldn't give them any money. As soon as you're not giving a meth addict money after a binge, they don't like you. And so getting stuff thrown at me and people coming at me with knives, I didn't need that in my life. And when you see that ugliness side of it, you realize like, that's not the high that I'm looking for, at least as me as an addict. And so I am grateful that meth never became my drug of choice. It is an extremely scary drug. And the one thing that you have to remember is you can't help an addict. And we as addicts hang out with other addicts. And we even know that. But I mean, this is what tweaking is for anybody that was wondering what it is. It's one of the scariest experiences that you'll ever experience with somebody, because they are literally that insane all over the board with symptoms of what tweaking is. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below your experiences, because I like to share experiences. I like to share stories, because the more that we share, the more that it helps everybody feel less alone, who does finally decide, you know what, I want to get sober. I want to go through this. I want my life to get better and get it back. And I have links below to NA and AA. They're great resources. And if you're struggling out there with addiction and you want to get sober, it all starts with just looking at everybody in your life and just saying, I'm an addict and I need help. And it goes from there. And is it worth it? It absolutely is.